Hi, Andrew Bell here with you, and this week we're going to have a look at an important part of the real estate market, and that is the rental component. In Australia there are 2.3 million rental houses, of which about 55% are detached houses, 30% are apartments or units, and 15% are detached or townhouses. Now 645,000 people, or about 30% of renters, are people who live alone. 520,000 or 23% of the market are childless couples, or as we refer to, empty nesters, and about 200,000 are group households. Now those figures certainly suggest that the greater demand is for smaller houses or apartment sizing. Bear that in mind as an investor. Unbeknown to most people is that interest rate movements are the critical driver of rental price change. Now the graph on screen certainly highlights this and shows that the two variables tend to move in proportion to one another. As interest rates have flatlined over recent years, and in fact have actually trended lower, there's been far less pressure on rental increases. Although rents have increased, they have been doing so at the slowest rate on record. You see, most landlords value a good tenant, and if they're under financial pressure from high holding costs such as interest payments, then they will not seek higher rental increases just for the sake of a higher revenue. Now you won't see that on Current Affair or any other media groups pointing out that fact, because they prefer to make landlords out to be ruthless money grabbers. Another example of how lower interest rates have helped is the fact that about 1.3 million landlords have now moved out of negative gearing situation into profit-making enterprises. And that's happened purely because the interest rates have been significantly lower. Now recent reports show that rents are about 2.6% higher nationally over the last year. Now what is really interesting is that here on the Gold Coast, rents have increased 4.3% last year for houses. We're up 2.8% for apartments. But you know what? That's only part of the story. The other part is that residential vacancy rates on the Gold Coast dropped dramatically over the past 3 years, from 5.5% in 2011 down to 2.3% in 2013 and just 1.9% in 2014. Now that's the lowest vacancy rate in well over a decade. You can understand why investors are starting to eye off the Gold Coast again, because as a result of the high level of investor purchases over the past 2 years in Sydney and Melbourne, there is a risk of some oversupply of rental properties in those markets, whilst we are clearly showing a dramatic undersupply. It seems pretty evident that there's going to be no shortage of tenants for quite some time to come. Immigration feeds through very strong population growth. But Australians overall have started to give up on buying property for themselves because of the rapid rises in prices and the inability to be able to save a deposit fast enough. So we're now seeing triple the number of first home buyers, for example, preferring to rent rather than buy. This is really a shift in the fabric of Australia, where we see that we're developing a whole generation of renters who ultimately are the most exposed groups to housing affordability stress, where we see now over 150,000 people pay more than 50% of their income on rent. Well, with governments not having the financial resources to supply public housing, it remains absolutely essential that private landlords continue to invest by way of buying rental properties to provide the housing needs for our continued strong population growth. Our Raywide Surfers Paradise property management operation is one of the two largest rent rolls on the Gold Coast, and we see firsthand the issue. It's not unusual in areas such as Coomera for us to have 30 odd people off our database wanting to apply for a property when it becomes available in that area. All of the applicants are feeling various degrees of stress over the incredible shortage of available rental properties. We hate seeing people in those situations and only wish it could be that every Australian could afford to buy their own home and have the security that comes with that home ownership. Not the case at present. There is no quick fix on this front, and the only immediate help that can be provided is seeing more investors buying rental properties in our neck of the woods. Well, here it is, springtime. It's always an incredibly active real estate period around the country, and I suspect it will be the strongest spring selling season that the Gold Coast has seen since 2006. If there's anything that we can do to assist you in your real estate needs, just email, as shown on screen, info@rwsp.net, or contact us on 1800 198 009, and it would be our greatest of pleasure to assist. Well, that's it for this fortnight. Back with you in another 2 weeks.